Republic Act 9514 is an act establishing a comprehensive fire code of the Philippines, repealing Presidential Decree 1185 and for other purposes. This act shall be known as the Fire Code of the Philippines of 2008. It is the policy of the state to ensure public safety, promote economic development through the prevention and suppression of all kinds of destructive fires, and promote the professionalization of the fire service as a profession. Towards this end, the state shall enforce all laws, rules, and regulations to ensure adherence to standard fire prevention and safety measures, and promote accountability in the fire protection and prevention service.
Protective and warning system. Owners, occupants, and administrator are buildings, structures, and their premises or facilities, except such other buildings or structures as may be exempted in the rules and regulations to be promulgated under Section 5 hereof, shall incorporate and provide therein fire safety, protective and warning systems, and shall develop and implement fire safety programs.
What is a fire safety inspection? A fire safety inspection is a necessary examination of a building or structure and its relevant fire safety documents. A fire safety inspection measures how well your building is managed in regards to fire safety. Legally, business must comply with a set of building codes and ordinances to keep their occupants safe. A fire safety inspection ensures you are doing so and calculates the potential risk factor in a given facility. The main purpose of the Fire Code Compliance Inspection Program is to identify and correct deficiencies that pose a threat to life and property, based on adopted code requirements, and to motivate corrective measures and by education of potential reoccurrence of hazards and methods of fire prevention. Fire safety is crucial in buildings to prevent workplace fires, reduce the risk of injury to employees and customers, protect against possible fines, and reduce damage to the facility or building. Building occupants can contribute to fire safety by being aware of the fire safety features of the building, such as passive and active fire protection systems, be familiar with evacuation plans, and report any issues or concerns to building management. It is important for the occupants to know the location of fire extinguishers and how to use them properly. Building occupants should also avoid blocking exits and ensure that proper signage is in place to help guide people to safety.
Fire protection features such as sprinkler system, hose boxes, hose reels or standpipe system, and other firefighting equipment. Safety against fire is a very important thing at workplaces as well as at the home. Fire safety can easily be ensured by having firefighting equipment and proper fire protection. The importance of firefighting equipment is an indispensable one to ensure maximum protection against fire. The firefighting equipment also ensure safety of the firefighters who risk their lives to save others. The primary reason of building needs fire protection system is to keep people safe. These devices alert people when a fire is near. In Establishment 1, the only thing available is the fire extinguisher. There are no other firefighting equipment available, such as sprinklers or hose reels. Here in Establishment 2, it is the same with the previous establishment. Only fire extinguisher is available, but they have smoke detector device, which gives alarm in case the smoke is detected. Fire alarm systems. A fire alarm system is your first line of defense against the danger of fire. Before you can react to the fire, you must first know it is there. But your fire alarm system does more than just announce a fire. There are actually 4 ways your fire alarm works to keep you and your building safe. The 4 ways your fire alarm system works to protect a property and its occupants from the danger of fire by detecting fire, alerting occupants, managing risk, and notifying the fire department. Fire alarm systems are not available in Establishment 1. There are no alarms found on the walls of the building, both first and second floor. However, in Establishment 2, we observe that they have fire alarms. You will see here on the wall that there is a fire alarm where people can use anytime in any case of fire. And here in the ceiling, as we can see, this will provide the alarm, both sound and light, indicating there is an occurrence of fire. Firewalls to separate adjoining buildings or warehouses and storage areas from other occupancies in the same building. In order to prevent the fire from spreading quickly, there must be a walls between the two infrastructures or establishments to avoid touching other things that may catch fire. As we observe, in our establishment, number 1, there are walls separating rooms inside the building, as well as walls separating the particular building with another building. But these walls are not typically fire resistant, due to the point there is a tendency that fire may spread rapidly inside the building. Here outside the establishment, we will notice that there is no boundary between this building and other building beside. This is critical when fire occurs, since the building beside may be able to adapt the fire because there is no wall separating them. In establishment number 2, we can see that here in the right side, there is no gap between the two buildings. This is the same with establishment number 1, where it is critical for the spread of the fire since fire can be easily adapted by the nearby buildings attached to the establishment. However, here on the left side, there is a wide gap separating this building to the other building, which is a good indicator of preventive measures of the spread of fire.
Provisions for confining the fire at its source, such as fire-resistant floors and walls, extending up to the next floor, slab, or roof, curtain boards, and other containing or stopping components. A firewall is simply a wall separating buildings or subdividing a building structure to anticipate the spread of fire while maintaining structural stability and sturdiness, while also offering fire resistance to the area. Concrete's resistance to fire improves the safety of occupants, firefighters, and neighbors during the fire events, and minimizes damage, so buildings can return to use quickly, boosting community resilience. We will notice here in establishment 1 that the cement is concrete, probably fire resistant. Walls are not totally fire resistant because of the presence of the paint that will probably adapt fire. As we notice here in establishment 2, the floor is completely on tiles and tiles are made out of fire, which makes it impossible to burn. Same with establishment 1, walls are not reliable to be fire resistant because of the paint.
Termination of all exits in an area, affording safe passage to a public way or safe dispersal area. A means of escape can be defined as the structural means whereby a safe route is provided for people to travel from any location in a building or structure to a place of safety without the need of outside assistance. This is necessary in every building in order to ensure the safety of the people in case of fire. During a fire incident, it is inevitable that the common exit will completely set on fire, which makes it impossible for the people to leave their way outside the building. In establishment number 1, there are no safe passages available that will serve as emergency exits in case when the common exit is terminated due to fire. However, even though there is no safe passage, they have vertical shafts that will be used as a safe passage. We will see here in establishment number 2 that they have a safe passage here. They also have emergency light nearby the door to lighten up the fire exit door. The door has a fire exit sign too. The safe passage is convenient since the passage is not too narrow and this passage leads to a safety area that is away from the risk of fire.
Stairway, vertical shaft, horizontal exit, and other means of egress from smoke and heat. Vertical shaft must be separated from the building with fire resistance rated walls and typically extend from the top of the building all the way to the bottom of the building. The purpose of fire exit staircases is to provide occupants of a building with an emergency exit in a fire hazard. As such, the doorways leading to the staircases should not be fastened or locked in a way that makes it hard for occupants to open them from inside. Establishment 1 has a stairway, a common stairway. But this is not smoke-free. We will notice that this is a closed area whereby smoke cannot exceed the building, which may probably suffocate the people. Although stairway is not convenient, but they have vertical shaft located at the side of the building that is smoke-free since it is well ventilated. In establishment 2, there are no vertical shaft and stairway since the building is only one story. However, they have a horizontal exit, which is the safe passage as discussed previously in this video.
A fire exit plan on each floor of the building showing the routes from each other room to proceed. Appropriate exits displayed prominently on the door of such room. Fire exit and emergency in a structure is a special exit for emergencies such as fire. The combined use of regular and special exits allows for faster evacuation, while it also provides an alternative if the route to the regular exit is blocked. Fire exit plans are not available in establishment number 1. There is no map provided in this building, both first and second story. The route of the entrance is the same route to exit area. In establishment 2, the same with the previous building, there are no maps available but they have a fire exit sign leading to safe passage. Even though there is no fire exit plan, but at least they have a safe passage which has an indicated for exit sign above the door.
Self-closing fire-resistive doors leading to corridors. It is required by building law that fire doors are self-closing. Door closers are mandatory for fire doors in order to ensure their functionality and thus fire protection in the building at all times. Here in establishment 1, the door is closing. But as we can see, it is not totally fire resistant, but it can control fire for a short period of time. The fact that the door is self-closing makes it useful for preventing the fire in a short span, although it cannot totally resist the fire at all. In establishment 2, it is the same within the establishment 1. The door is self-closing but not really a fireproof. This is somehow useful as it helps to delay the spread of fire.
Fire dampers and centralized conditioning ducts. The fire damper secures the integrity of the existing barrier, thus preventing fire penetration before temperatures reach the fire rating level of the barrier itself. Its primary function is to prevent the passage of fire from one side to another of a fire-related separation. Fire dampers are provided with an hourly fire rating. Smoke dampers' primary function is to control the movement of smoke in dynamic air distribution systems, and they reduce the possibility of smoke transfer within ductwork or through wall openings. Both establishments do not have a fire dampers in their air conditioning ducts. In establishment 1, their aircon do not have any fire dampers, which makes them vulnerable to fire. In establishment 2, their aircon has no fire dampers, which indicates that there will be no fire resistance in case temperature increases.
Roof vents were used by firefighters. Roof vents are the passage where firefighters enter getting inside a house that has been burned. Establishment 1 doesn't have a roof vent where firefighters can use in case of fire. However, the second story is wide open which makes it easier for the firefighters to come inside. They don't have roof vent but the second story is well ventilated. The establishment 2, their roof and ceiling are totally closed, no roof vents, contrary to the establishment 1. This establishment is not well ventilated, therefore in case of fire, there is a high tendency of the occurrence of background.
Properly marked and lighted exits with provision for emergency lights will adequately illuminate exit ways in case of power failure. Emergency exits routes are important because they provide a clear, safe way to evacuate a building in case of crisis or disaster. First responders such as fire or police may also utilize emergency exits to enter a building during a disaster or crisis. As with most safety equipment, you don't fully appreciate emergency lighting and exit signs and tailor-made to them. They are intended to illuminate the path to the building that leads to the exit, ensuring people can tell what doors to use, evacuate safely from individual rooms, and ultimately the entire building. As we can see here in the video, establishment number 1, that there is an emergency light, although not totally placed at the top of the door, but at least nearer to it. This is useful when there is a fire and suddenly electric power shutdowns. In establishment number 2, they also have emergency lights. Both replaced at the door common exit doors and the door of fire exit or the safe passage. Emergency light can illuminate the passage or exit door so that people can easily find their way out.
After we inspected these two buildings, we have been able to identify their compliance to the fire code, such as the availability of requirements as mentioned in the Provision on Fire Safety Construction, Protective and Warning System under the Republic Act 9514. Furthermore, we were also able to differentiate the legal compliance versus the actual compliance of these two buildings. As a conclusion, we found out that these two establishments have somehow complied to some of the provisions, although they did not comply to all the provisions stated in the RA 9514, but at least they have complied to the minimum requirements stated hereof. Nevertheless, these two establishments have passed the fire safety inspection of the Bureau of Fire Protection in Malita, Davao Occidental. As a proof, here are the certificates of the buildings issued by the BFP stating that these establishments have complied with the fire safety and protection requirements of the Fire Code of the Philippines.
Fire Safety Measures for Fire Safety Inspection Certificate or FSIC. Completing the fire safety measures is a requirement for a fire safety inspection certificate. Otherwise, the building construction cannot proceed. The fire safety measure covers buildings, structures, and facilities, hazardous operation and processes, and miscellaneous unsafe premises and conditions that pose a threat or dangers to life, property, and environment. RA 9514 classifies building structures into the assembly, educational, health care, detention and correctional, residential, versatile, business, industrial, storage, mixed occupants, and various occupancies. All these structures shall pass the fire safety standards before they can be issued FSIC.
Fire safety is definitely important for every workplace, regardless of what type of building, since they can happen anywhere at any time. Each facility should adhere to established fire codes, perform a thorough assessment of present fire hazards, have an extensive understanding of fire suppression equipment, and have comprehensive emergency plan in place. All in all, the main purpose of the compliance of the building to the fire code is to ensure the safety of all people, preventing the possible loss of life in case fire incident may happen. Always remember, safety starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you.